All right. Sorry, people. My apologies up front. I like to give people a longer heads up before I go live, but I had to do this on the fly, right? Welcome to everybody. I'm glad all of you could join me here. I usually do one live stream per week, but I'm gonna have to squeeze two in this weekend. I started reading this story, and I know a lot of you have already read it. I shared it in the community section. Crazy story. A lot of twists and turns. Wasn't that story crazy? Unbelievable stuff. It was like something that you would see on a movie. How's everybody doing today? This is a lovely day out here in Ohio. It's supposed to rain today, but I haven't seen any rain at all. It's beautiful out here. People outside, barbecuing and all that. Now, even though I don't eat meat, I enjoy the atmosphere, and I have not seen any dogs today. So that's wonderful. I soak up days like this when I don't have to look at an ugly mutt. Don't have to deal with their presence, because they ruin every gathering that you could possibly have, right? Especially if there's food around. But I hope all of you have read this story. This was a very disturbing. Now I was making my slide for the weekend, and I'm putting stories together. When I copy articles or when I want to share them, I'll condense them. I'll condense them down because I don't want a bunch of reading. I'll just give you the main point of it. But with this one, I couldn't leave hardly anything out. And it was just flat out disturbing. This was disturbing. Dog ordered to be euthanized after it attacked a pregnant postal carrier. Man, oh man. So, she says it was a beautiful Saturday afternoon, late July. Leah Rowland, she walked up to the home, the residence of, I think it's Di Ingalls, and the owner of the dogs was Miss Ingalls. But she was in her backyard, and the mail carrier came to the front door. So as she walked up to the front door to deliver the mail, and listen, the dog owner says she typically kept her front door closed. But on that day, after having finished mowing her lawn, she only, the screen door was the only door shut. So the big door was open. So, of course, the mutts just blasted through the screen door as soon as they saw this mail carrier. Now, keep in mind, I'm quite sure these dogs, it's not the first time they've seen the mailman or mailwoman. Not the first time. So as she walked up to deliver the mail, just doing her job, right? In uniform, hold the mail, she was attacked. The mutts just bolted through the screen door, right? They literally wrote that. They bolted through the screen door. And this was after she had recently learned that she was pregnant. Now, I think she was 7 weeks pregnant, if I'm not mistaken. She tried to use her foot to block the door so they couldn't get out. But of course, these are some big mutts, pit bulls, and they blasted through the door. Had to have been a very horrific, terrifying moment, especially when you're not armed. And the big problem with this, as I digress briefly, is that kids can't carry guns. They can't carry guns. But I'm going to wait till tomorrow to say everything I want to say to the kids who follow this channel. right? Because they need a solution. We can carry a weapon, they can't. And even if they could, I don't think kids can manipulate weapons good enough to actually use them. So because the general public society won't do anything to protect our kids, I will do what I can in the form of advice here online. It's pretty pathetic and ridiculous. Where are the men? Stand up and protect. We are protectors. But I digress. So this woman was attacked. And she was about 7 months pregnant. This is just terrible, man. Terrible. She tried to grab her dog spray, but one of the mutts clamped down on her arm, and then the other bit her hip. She fell to the ground. Now, I'm paraphrasing here. The story is a lot more detailed. She fell to the ground and cried out for help as the dogs continued to maul her, to mutilate her. See, I don't like the way they use words. I always try to reword it. To bite. No. As they continued to brutally maul her. Let's get the language right. She said, we had just found out we were having a baby on Tuesday. So terrible. So I'm at the point 7 weeks pregnant, and her instinct was to protect her torso and her neck. Her statements were part of an emotional testimony she gave at a public hearing to determine the dog's fate after the attack that Rowland said left her traumatized and unable to work. So she missed work. This is a very serious situation. One of the dogs was ordered to be euthanized, and the other was confined to the property at all times unless muzzled. Now let me stop there for a moment, people. Listen to how you have to handle these vicious, brutal, violent, angry, out of control mutants. You got to keep them on your property at all times. And if they're not on the property, you got to keep a cage around their head. You know you're dealing with a very, very dangerous creature. And like I said, anytime I point things out like this, it is to reinforce my opinion that dogs should be banned, and most of all, that having dogs around kids is child endangerment at the highest level, the very highest level. Shout out to my fellow Crusader partner in crime, Dogs Are Garbage, aka Ashley. Much love. Thanks for yes. And I spend a lot, man, but I love it. Appreciate you inspiring me. Yes, and that means a lot to me. You have no idea. Like, I never thought that I'd be able to motivate, have a positive influence and motivate people like I have here online. There's been a lot of people who I've sort of inspired them to actually talk about this, to view this as a problem. And yeah, it's something that wasn't expected, and I'm very humble that people appreciate the work. My pleasure. Lala Shopper, thank you very much. Right? And shout out here. Let me pause for a moment. I want to give a special shout out, and my apologies to any and everybody that I've forgotten or unable to mention. Right? Bear with me here. Shout out to Nicole Alexander. These are people who have supported the channel, have made contributions. Jamin Hamilton, Nicole Alexander again, thank you very much. Salim Volger, and Jamon Hamilton. So these are our frequent contributors to the content, right? Big shout out to you all. And some who, you know, their name does not show on the summary, right? But my apologies. I'm going to do a better job at keeping up to the people who take the time to contribute to the content. Right? So you all can clearly see why I was disturbed by this. You're 7 weeks pregnant. You should be thinking about the safety of your unborn child. That's the number one priority. So one of the mutts was euthanized. The other had to wear a cage on its face anytime it was taken outside of the property. But they're saying, this thing is dangerous. Both dogs attacked her. But like I said, if you don't know anything about dogs, if you hear this, that the thing has to be kept on the property at all times unless it has a cage around its face, you're dealing with a very, very dangerous creature. And I'm going to talk on, I'm going to save that for tomorrow's stream. But I'm going to go over the criminal behavior that is going on here with these pro dog channels here on YouTube. Many of you know this a lot better than me. People have shared endless videos with me with channels I never knew existed, and shame on me for not knowing, because these are some disgusting channels out here where they're outright lying, talking about, pit bulls, despite all the myths, pit bulls are great with children. This should be criminal. I'll come back to that. So this mutt has to wear a fence around its face if it's not at home. Another one was euthanized. And you dare say that these things are okay to be around our youth. You have to be out of your mind. But I cannot be sympathetic or feel sorry for this woman because she is a dog lover herself. Isn't that terrible? Ah, man, this threw me for a loop. I said, what? She is a dog lover herself. Unbelievable stuff. And she says, I love my job. I love my route. I love dogs. I put my dogs in my Christmas cards every year. But this can't happen to anyone else. This is the victim still talking. She said, this can't happen to anyone else. There's so many kids in that neighborhood or older folks that just walk around, right? Walk around, end quote. Walk around just living their life, not bothering anyone. Nothing should attack people who are just enjoying life and not bothering anyone else, especially children, especially. And anything that does on a consistent basis, there's no argument, get it out of our society. So the commission deemed both dogs dangerous and voted to have one of them euthanized, the unneutered male pit bull mix, said to be the primary aggressor. See, this is what I don't like. I really hate this with a passion. Both dogs attacked, yet they only want to euthanize the dog that initiated the attack. What difference does it make? They couldn't even get the execution of these dogs, the euthanation of these dogs right. They couldn't even get that right. So because the other dog joined in after the other dog provoked it or started it, kicked the attack off, that dog gets to live? Do you really think that people can always have control over their dog? They cannot. What makes you think that this woman, you see her dog just attacked the mail carrier. That was a moment where the owner did not have control over the dog. So why would you assume that she can keep the dog on her property at all times? She just failed to do that. I know it was the porch, but she did not have control over that mutt. No control. So why would you trust a person like that again? Both of these dogs should have been euthanized. This gives you an idea how far on the wrong path we are. Right? Because we can't even get the euthanization of them. We can't even get that right. So that infuriated me. What are you talking about? Property at all times. This big monster can get away from her even if she has it on a leash, has a rope tied around its neck. That mutt, if it wants to get to someone, it will just drag her along. This is absolute madness. This is a head scratch, man. We got to snap out of it. Snap out of it, people. Several people spoke up in support of the dogs. That does not surprise us, does it? It gets worse. It gets a lot worse, people. Yeah, okay. And my apologies too. Like I said, it's harder for me to keep up with the comments now. But like I said, always check the comments if you watch these live streams after the live stream. Excellent, excellent input. Several people spoke up in support of the mutts. Ingalls, through tears, said the incident was an extremely unfortunate accident. Boy, oh boy. My goodness, my goodness. Of course, that does not surprise us. An accident. And in comments echoed by her daughter and another man who knew the mutts, said the dogs never before have exhibited hostility. Again, we're not surprised, are we? That's routine. So why is the dogs never having shown hostility ever taken into consideration? If after every attack, they come out and say, well, it's never shown hostility before. What does that mean? You can't trust any of them. That's what that means. That's hardcore proof that you cannot trust them. You can give it all the love in the world. Someday they can just snap and attack. Now, some people might say, well, dogs are just protecting their property. Somebody walked up to the porch, so they were just protecting their property. Okay. My point is, nobody was trespassing. Nobody was trying to steal anything. Nobody was attacking the dog owner, anybody on that property. In our world, the human being world, she was attacked for no reason. Do you understand that? So this is a crime. You cannot say that the dogs didn't do anything wrong. You cannot justify the presence of dogs when they attack innocent people for absolutely no reason. So no, I don't co-sign with this narrative. Oh, they were just protecting their property. No, what was going on is that there was nothing to protect the property from, because nobody was attacking anyone, trying to steal anyone. This was the mail carrier. We don't live in the dog's world. They live in our world. So stop trying to use dog standard to justify dog attacks. It is disgusting. And we see it. We see it. Look, y'all have gone decades, and I literally mean that. Gone decades putting out this type of propaganda, these narratives, and not being questioned on it. Feels so good that you're being questioned now. The owner of these worthless mutts said, "I don't know why this happened. They've never shown any aggression toward anybody." What is that? More proof that dogs cannot be trusted. So that means all of the laws are wrong. Trying to deem a dog dangerous only after it attacks, that is a gross error. They're dangerous before they attack. Part of the reason why they're so dangerous before they ever attack is that every dog that attacks is said to have never shown hostility before. That's hardcore. That's all the evidence and proof we need. We are simply not getting justice for a case that we won before it even starts. So yet again, some worthless mutants who've never shown aggression before attacks for absolutely no reason. Nothing provoked these mutts, nothing whatsoever. Nobody stole its food, nobody was staring at it, nobody sneezed. Dogs just love to attack. That's as simple as that. And anything with that type of behavior and it's deadly, get it out of here. Like I said, where are the men? Where are the protectors? And I'm disappointed with this police officer. The individual that helped this woman was a police officer. And if you read the article, you are disappointed by his statements. And this is what he said. He came over and helped her. He's an off-duty police officer or a retired police officer. He helped her, picked her up, fought off the dogs, but he was bitten himself. And then this is what he said. He said, in my opinion, these dogs should not be subjected to euthanization. Not be subjected to being euthanized. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. This is what he said. He continued. He said, several safety steps and precautions can be introduced to prevent anything like this from happening again. I do not want to see these dogs killed for this isolated incident. This is not, I repeat, not an isolated incident. Nearly 7,000 dog bites per day in the United States alone. There's nothing isolated about those statistics. You're talking about around 800,000 who need emergency care treatment. That is not isolated. I will not let these people get away with this really pathetic and weak narrative that dog attacks are some isolated rare event. Stop it. It was Dowley's proximity. Now, Dowley was the police officer who jumped in and helped her. He said it was, continuing with the article, it said it was Dowley's proximity and assistance that prevented the situation from ending in tragedy. What do you mean? See, let me highlight this as well. Let me highlight this as well. Over the years, I've stumbled upon a lot of things that has infuriated me, and this is one of them. So just because she wasn't killed, then you're saying that this was not a tragic situation? This really disappoints me. This infuriates me. Where they only feel it's a serious situation if the person dies. Here you have a pregnant woman who was attacked by 2 dogs, bitten, injured. That is a tragic ending. What are you talking about? If she would have been killed, it would have just been more tragic. So I definitely want to zone in on this narrative that is only, You don't have to worry about dog attacks as long as the person lives. You remember, I've attacked this narrative that dog lovers put out that there's only about 40 or 50 people killed per year, and that's not that many. They only focus on the deaths. Y'all heard me talk about that. And they completely ignore how many people are torn apart. No, you're not going to get away with that. So this did end in tragedy. Had this, that mutt could have killed her baby as well. She said the attack left the carrier with severe injuries and prompted the U.S. Postal Service to modify how carriers deliver mail in the area to ensure that their vehicles are close by for protection. Now, y'all have heard me talk about, you've heard me say repeatedly that anytime you fail to speak against the presence of dogs, or anytime you speak in defense of their existence, if you try to justify their presence in our society, you sound like an insane person. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here. When you do that, you sound like an insane individual. Their vehicles are close by for, listen, if I'm out of my vehicle and I'm walking and I have to walk as far as from the street up to someone's home, if I'm attacked by a dog, it's not going to matter where my vehicle is. Most likely, you're not going to be able to outrun those dogs and then jump in a vehicle that doesn't even have a door. So what? The mutts can just hop right inside and commence to mauling you inside of the vehicle. Now where you gonna go? Now you just trapped yourself and the mutt has you cornered and you're just gonna get mutilated. Listen, I'm gonna make it impossible for everyone or anyone, I'm gonna make it impossible for them to avoid saying that dogs should be banned. That's the only solution. That message sent to the U.S. Postal Service from this channel. That's not, I'm sorry. I like that the U.S. Postal Service is trying to respond to this and be responsible and professional, but that's no solution. Park closer so that you can use your vehicle that has no doors for protection. You just got to hope that you can outrun the dog. By the time you see a dog, oftentimes that dog is already running. So there's no way that you can gain speed and outrun it before you just, and also, don't they tell you not to run? They tell you to stand still. That running will trigger their prey drive. So there's no solution to this dog problem other than banning them. Banning them. This is so easy. The dog culture makes this easy. So I'm sorry, U.S. Postal Service, that is not a solution. The only solution is to eradicate our society of these parasites with legs, these worthless, disgusting, disease-ridden, bloodthirsty beasts. They have no place in our society. We need to protect our youth with vigor. Vigor. Aggressive once, they will always be aggressive. People, that is what the U.S. Postal Service said. Aggressive once, they will always be aggressive as far as we're concerned in the Postal Service. So why let the other dog live? You see how crazy this is? Like I said, you're going to contradict yourself. You're going to make yourself sound like an idiot. Anytime you defend the presence of dogs, you cannot do it. You'll even run into situations where you're, contradicting yourself. Aggressive once, they will always be aggressive as far as we're concerned at the Postal Service. The dog has mauled a carrier who could have possibly been killed if the off-duty police officer did not intervene. The police officer who helped wrote a letter. No, excuse me. Yeah, this is like a duplicate. Sorry about that. But yeah, he opposed euthanasia, noting that neither dog ever had been reported to have attacked another person before the incident. And he suggested they were trying to protect their home. And now little does he know, this further more and more proof that a clean history, a dog that has never attacked anyone, can't be trusted just as much as the dogs who have attacked someone or that have attacked. Did I say who? No. Right? My apologies. Now, in regard to this story, this was a very disturbing. This woman is pregnant and she has dogs herself. And like someone pointed out, who is this? Brown and Beautiful 35. She said she should also get rid of her own dogs because she is worried around them. Plus, she has a child now. If the dogs that attacked her weren't provoked and still did, her own dogs could do the same. Right? And that is exactly correct. She has dogs, and she has said that now she is wary and nervous around her own dogs. Why isn't her instincts kicking in? I made that video, I think it was a year or so ago, where I broke down how women change when they become pregnant. And a lot of women start to really dislike dogs when they're pregnant. They start to get turned off, severely turned off by every sound the mutt makes, licking its lips, grunting, walking around, breathing hard. They always making some type of disgusting sound. The nails when they walk, that's real disgusting. These are vile, repugnant mutants. And for whatever reason, they did not pick up on this before they became pregnant. And I argued that it is their natural instinct that's causing them to resent the presence of dogs. A natural instinct put into mothers by nature. And it signals to them to stay away from predators. We are not predators. We are prey organisms. And predators have no place in our society, bottom line. Nobody wants to deny that. Nobody with credentials. Everybody who tries to argue that is some, dog lover with poor character, and they're not that very well informed. So appearing with her husband, who is also a mail carrier, she described in detail how she still suffers physically and emotionally as she finds herself nervous around and unable to walk her own dogs. How about that? How about that? She still won't give up her own dogs. How insane is that? So if she's going to keep her dogs, to me, that's a sign that she is indeed brainwashed. Because everything else is telling her, get rid of them. And around your baby, I don't even have kids. But man, I would protect my kid's life like an armored knight. No mutt will even get too close to my home. So hopefully she will get rid of that mutt or her mutts. I think she got more than one before her baby is born. And hopefully she no longer owns dogs. Become a permanent crusader. So this infuriated me. Very much so. And, this story, remember I reported this story. It reminded me of this story. I'm going to deal with it tomorrow, right? Shameless plug for tomorrow's live stream. But we have to understand that there are no laws that you could come up with that excludes removing dogs from society that makes sense, that will work. I do not want to hear anything about punishment, punishing them, giving them higher fines, or any of that worthless garbage that is only in place to protect dogs. These are worthless laws. And they're so worthless that you have to assume that they're there really to protect the presence of dogs. Anything outside of removing dogs from society is a failed solution. And it's disturbing seeing highly educated people regurgitate that exact same narrative. Now, I have a never-ending number of stories and content, so I'm not worried about, not having enough content for tomorrow's live stream. Like I said, if I were doing this full time, I would probably do a live stream every other day. That is how much content is available out here. But I read this article shortly after reading that disturbing story, and it was unbelievable. Once again, reminded me of that story. Shout out to my other partner in crime and moderator, JDA. Shout out to Kitten. See, she's in the room. But how many people read this? I think this was a recent story, if I'm not mistaken. A man has a seizure, and then he was kicked by horses and then mauled by dogs. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. Now, I believe I saved the story. There's actually a news. Here it is, right? Brace yourself, people. I had to watch this twice, and it's only like, a few seconds long, right? Check this out. This is the news report for this article. Okay. Oh, there we go.
We have an update tonight on a man who suffered some horrific injuries from an apparent dog.
Oh, Lord. Bear with me here, people.
We have an update tonight on a man who suffered some horrific injuries from an apparent dog mauling yesterday. Detectives say that Ronnie Charles left his home in Interlachen last night to check on some horses that his family owns. Now, according to detectives, it seems that Charles may have had a seizure, which spooked the horses, leading them to kick him multiple times. When he got home, they say he removed his clothes. Detectives think that he was confused and he was allegedly heading home to get help when the dog attacked him. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office.
That's the end of the story. Did anybody understand that? Did you understand that? Did y'all get that? Did you even understand what they're talking about? This was crazy. So apparently, allegedly, he went to check on some horses, right? A woman heard dogs barking from her home and started to walk down the road. She found a man crying for help with his legs severely mauled. Sadly, Charles had to have a finger reattached and needs skin grafts. His wife says the neighbor's 4 pit bulls. My goodness, people. 4 pit bulls mauled him and demolished his legs, especially his calves. How is it? You know, it's mind-blowing to allow anybody, to allow the general public to own 1 pit bull. But they will allow people to own as many as they want. 4 pit bulls? What's the point? What's the point? They are an absolute menace to society. Dog owners are a menace to society. And the more dogs they have, the more of a menace they are. And they're at war. They're at war with other citizens. That is basically what it boils down to. They are antisocial. So they tore this man, his legs, his calves, mutilated him. Based on the investigation, deputies determined that no crime occurred. Right? Get a load of that. No crime occurred. Deputies say, now look, again, the deputy said the dogs are not at fault, says the sheriff's office. Deputies say the dogs were located inside a fence in a yard that did not allow the dogs to roam freely outside of the property. And there was no evidence of an attack outside the yard or the roadway. So they're saying that this man, listen to this. At this time, it appears the dogs were doing what they were supposed to do. And that was protect the property and the homeowner who was elderly. It was unfortunate that Mr. Charles suffered the injuries he had, as he was clearly not coherent, and due to the proximity of his home, may have thought he was walking to his residence. We are praying for a speedy recovery. However, we cannot fault the dogs for doing their job. People, they also noted that this man does not do drugs and does not drink alcohol. People, why are they acting as if it's normal for some intruder in broad daylight to walk up into a person's house and rob them? Dogs doing their job. What job? To attack random people who get too close to the property? Why is that considered a job that needs to be done? What is this? What are these people talking about with this dog nut culture? The dog owners are never being attacked. And they assume that those same dogs will not attack anyone else. Yet those dogs attack other people every second almost. Really, it's more than every second. Really staggering statistics how often these mutants attack people. But this is not a job that needs to be done in the human world. I don't need people to get attacked for walking on the sidewalk in front of my home, or even if he walked in. Now they're saying that this man was discombobulated. Listen to this. This is what they're saying. He was He walked to check on these horses, and he had a seizure. And the seizure scared the horses. So the horses kicked him multiple times. So after he had a seizure and had been kicked multiple times by the horses, he started to walk home, or what he thought was home. Instead, he walked into a fenced area where there were dogs, 4 pit bulls, and then proceeds to get mutilated by the dogs. I don't know about anybody else, but something is wrong with that story. Something is wrong with that story. So they're saying that the horses started it. The seizure scared the horses, so the horses turned around, so that they could kick them with their hind legs. It just does not make sense to me whatsoever. Now, I don't know about the temperament or behavior of horses, but that sounds ridiculous. What sounds more believable is that the man simply got attacked by these out of control mutts, right? And I don't know where the dogs were. You find this quite often, but this is not a drug user. He had a seizure, a massive seizure a long time ago, or a stroke. Excuse me. He had a stroke a long time ago. Now he has seizures every now and then. But this sounds like another situation where they're trying to defend the dogs and protect the dogs. So, my message to the young people out there, and I'm going to have more to say tomorrow. You cannot own guns. These things will take down adults, so they will take down kids. What needs to happen is kids need to stay out of the homes of people who own dogs. You cannot listen to these people lying, saying that dogs, especially pit bulls, are harmless. Matter of fact, listen to this. I cannot give you bits and pieces. I got to give you the whole ensemble here. Wait a minute, where is this? Here it is, right here. Right, as I digress. Now, check this out. Right, brace yourself, as always.
Pit bulls.
Sorry about that.
Pit bulls are awesome. Those that love them know them as friendly, devoted, playful pets with lots of love to share. But a pit bull is a large, powerful dog that is not for everyone. Here are 5 legitimate reasons you should not get a pit bull. A pit bull is loyal and bonds deeply with family. They are exceptional dogs, but they need exceptional owners. You must consider your pit bull as part of the family. This is not a dog that you can just throw out in the backyard and leave it. And very few dogs are. It needs time with family. The pit bull is also not a dog that you can leave home alone all the time. If you work a lot, you should consider a different breed or a different type of pet altogether. A reptile, perhaps. There's a link to low-maintenance reptiles in the description. This is not a pet you can abandon if it doesn't work out. Pit bulls are among the most euthanized in shelters, thanks in no small part to media hype. The decision to get a pit bull...
Oh my goodness. Thanks to media hype. So we're all delusional, right?
is a 12 to 14 year commitment and one that should not be taken lightly. But you've never lived until you had a pit bull try to crawl into your lap for a cuddle. If you're looking for a guard dog, keep looking. Despite their reputation as tough dogs, pit bulls are lousy guard dogs. Instead, many pit bulls will invite the person in, tongue kiss them, and then have the person snuggle with them on the couch while watching Netflix. For the most part, this is a people-friendly breed who is generally happier to see guests than their human family members are, greeting them with a whole wagging butt.
Oh, unbelievable. Now, listen, these people are self-indoctrinated. Yes, you're not hearing things. He said that pit bulls are people-friendly. In the face of the statistics that we all are aware of.
Granted, they are big and have a not so accurate reputation of being aggressive, so your pit bull may be enough to scare away a stranger. But keep in mind that pit bulls are also one of the most stolen breeds. Link in the description explains more. Did you know that you can train YouTube? Every like, every comment, every subscribe tells YouTube that difficult parts of owning a pit bull just might be humans, specifically lawmakers. Breed-specific legislation targets specific breeds of dogs that are wrongly thought to all be dangerous, most frequently pit bull types.
Okay, that's enough of that. And I don't think that's, I don't think that's what I was looking for. Right. Oh, this is it. This is it. Right? I'm going to come back to that video tomorrow.
Hello there, dog lovers.
Because,
welcome.
Sorry about that. There's a lot to unpack with that video. This is what I was looking for, people. Listen to this.
To another episode of Barking Royalty Dog Breed Show. In this video, we're demystifying one big topic among dog lovers. What is a pit bull and which dog breeds are often mistaken for pit bulls? Owners of these dogs are often annoyed when other people confuse their dog's breed with pit bulls. Not because they don't know exactly what breed their pup is, but just because it happens so often. If you're lucky to have a furry friend that belongs to some of these breeds, then you surely know what we're talking about. So first of all, let's define what a pit bull is. What's commonly called a pit bull.
No, don't need to hear all that. Let's
or
get on.
Because of their fearless and confident personalities. Other than that, boxers are very devoted, cheerful, and loyal dogs, which makes them really attached to their owners. Boxers were developed in the 19th century Germany from the extinct Bull and Beaver breeds that were a result of crossing a Mastiff, Great Dane, Bulldog, and a Terrier. Cane Corso is also known as Italian Mastiff and is one of the...
Oh my goodness. Do y'all see that? My goodness. My goodness. How many mutts is that? Too many to count.
The most popular guard dogs out there. They are very well built, which is why they resemble pit bulls, even though Cane Corsos are much bigger. His large head is his most notable feature. And even though they might look intimidating, this big dog is extremely affectionate towards his family and owner. Out of all the dog breeds on this list, Bull Terriers resemble pit bulls the least. They have a shark-shaped head that stands out among all other breeds. Nonetheless, its stubbornness and muscular body makes it look as a potentially aggressive dog, which is probably why people assume they are pit bulls. But with proper socialization and training, they make a great family pet. American Staffordshire Terriers, also known as Amstaff, are often mixed up with pit bulls. Although these two breeds are very similar because of their impressive posture, American Staffordshires have a more narrow muzzle than pits, and they come in two colors. Other than that, Amstaffs are really loving, friendly, and courageous. The Old English Bulldog...
People, do you know how criminal this is? To simply say, and irresponsible, to simply say that bully breeds are friendly and loving? How reckless, that is extremely reckless. These people have no respect for human life. It's so bad that they will push this, and I believe she even says that these things are loving towards kids, children, when we know from the shelters out there where at the shelter, they will say with several dogs, sometimes it's more than half, maybe even usually more than half of the pit bulls in these shelters, they tell you in the description, no kids. No kids. And yet these same pit nutters out here pushing this idea that dogs are perfect for kids. Right, listen to this.
Was bred in the 1970s in order to recreate a new version of the working bulldog from early 19th century England. These dogs resemble pit bulls for a good reason. They were bred from crossing American Pit Bull Terriers with English Bulldogs, American Bulldogs, and Bull Mastiffs. No wonder they are so muscular. Also, they may look aggressive, but we assure you they are very sweet and gentle dogs. This natural guard dog.
These same dogs that have attacked millions of people, millions, each one of these dog breeds that she's named has attacked millions of people, have seriously injured millions, has required that people get reconstructive surgery. Hundreds of thousands of victims by these same dogs that she is naming. And she has the audacity to describe these dogs the way that she is.
We assure you they are very sweet and gentle dogs.
Very sweet and gentle dogs. Now, you may be in the presence of a dog and not get attacked. But just because you had that moment where you were not attacked, that does not give you the right to describe that mutt as sweet and gentle. This does not need to be explained. And I feel like my IQ is going down, even responding to something so ridiculous. I'm just pointing out this is extremely reckless and irresponsible. You got to keep in mind, kids grow up hearing this from the earliest ages, hearing the adults say things like this. Even though, again, you can simply go online, go to these shelters, read the descriptions of these mutts, and you will see that half or more of them, they say no kids. No other dogs, no other pets, no kids, not kid friendly. You should live alone by yourself and you should be an adult. So this plays a powerful role, in my opinion, in dog attacks, in this child sacrifice cult.
This natural guard dog is very intelligent and independent.
Look at that.
They
Are
were
you
bred
kidding?
from English Mastiffs,
People, are
Neapolitan
you
Mastiffs.
kidding? Did y'all see that?
Also,
have you ever seen such an unsightly, gruesome look? How can anything drool like that? How can anything on this planet drool like? People, you see anything that drools like that, stay away from it. That looks just like a creature that is disease-ridden, 100%. That's all the signs. A saggy face that's sagging and hanging off its skull, always licking and licking, drooling. I mean, saliva pouring out of this thing's mouth. Who in their right mind would let something like that inside their home? Kids, you don't want to be around anything like that, and I don't want you to be around anything like that. Stay out of these people's home who own dogs. If it's your parents, tell them you don't like it. These things are from hell. These creatures are hell sent. I really can't wait for the day when the average American hates dogs with every drop of blood in their body, because that is what dogs deserve. This disgusting, unbelievable, just how disgusting they are infuriates me. Unbelievable. This is why you don't touch dog lovers. They kiss this. Look, they kiss this. They allow this to lick on them. Unbelievable.
They were bred from English Mastiffs, Neapolitan Mastiffs, Bull Mastiffs, and American Pit Bulls. The Amble Neo Mastiff's appearance leads a lot of people to think they are very aggressive, but they're actually very assertive when trained and socialized properly. They are generally gentle and very loving and affectionate.
Generally gentle and very loving. What do you mean generally?
And very loving.
Boy, oh boy. Disgusting.
And affectionate towards their family and owner. The American Bully is also known as the Bully Pit or American Bully Pit. Not only are they commonly mistaken for pit bulls, but they're often confused with American Bulldog and American Pit Bull Terrier mix as well. American Bullies are more muscular and they have a larger head and shorter legs, while Pit Bulls are not so wide. Bull Mastiffs are very often mistaken for Pit Bulls. This large-sized breed is a reliable dog with a muscular body that is a great family guard.
What do you mean reliable dog? How does a dog prove to be reliable? Hey, I don't get it.
And a companion. They were bred in the 19th century by gamekeepers to guard estates. A Bull Mastiff is a bit smaller in size than a Mastiff, but can reach the height of 26 inches and the weight between 100 and 130 pounds.
Ugh, my God. Look at the slobber. Oh my goodness. And people, these dog nuts out here being physically affectionate with these walking, barking piles of vomit.
The strong, muscular dog was bred in the 1920s from Cordoba Fighting Dog and other dog breeds such as Great Dane for the purposes of big game hunting.
So they're bred for hunting. You think something that's bred for hunting belongs in the home? Have y'all noticed or taken note that, you got this narrative that dogs are family, you just train them right. Have y'all noticed that police officers use dogs as weapons? Police departments use dogs as weapons, and they don't need to weaponize the dogs. They don't have to arm the dogs. They don't have to give the dogs ammunition. The dogs, just the way they are used as deadly weapons. So how all of a sudden do they become harmless when they're inside of a home? And suddenly, all of a sudden, this is not child endangerment. But if you leave a gun on the sofa and there's a child in the home, that's child endangerment. But not a lethal predator off leash inside the home. Make it make sense.
These dogs resemble a larger version of Amstaffs, but they're nonetheless often mistaken for pit bulls. They look like pit bulls probably because of their firm posture and well-built muscles. Other than that, we see no reason to confuse these two breeds.
Now, as I've always talked about, this is why they say that pit bulls have a bad reputation, an unwarranted reputation, because they're saying that oftentimes when people are attacked, they're attacked by one of these dogs that are not actually pit bulls. And like I've said several times, they're all bully breeds. They're all the same. It does not matter. All of them have the locking jaws. Yes, I said locking. You're going to deal with that strong clamp down bite where they clamp down and shake. You're going to deal with that with all of these dogs. All of these blocky-headed bully breeds. So why are you trying to distinguish them apart from each other? See, it wasn't actually a pit bull. So I need these dog nuts to understand that this is against all bully breeds. I'm saying that all bully breeds are among the worst types of mutants, types of dogs out there. And they're all in the same category, all of them.
Breeds. If you want to discover other dog breeds that look like pit bulls, check out the link in the video description box and learn more about dogs that are often
And this was some sexual coding in your window. That's all this is about. A bunch of nasty, nasty people having sexual relationships with these things. This dog nut culture is a little more disgusting than I'm even able to understand fully, unless I became as disgusting as they are and actually was in the home with these people. I cannot imagine. Can you imagine being a fly on the wall in the home of one of these pit nutters? Right? I don't even want to try to imagine that. But this is serious. I'm going to deal with it tomorrow, but this man has finally come out and spoke. These things attack adults, grown men. Grown men don't even have a chance, not a chance in the world. You cannot only think about yourself, you have to think about people in your community. And I would have hoped that a woman who was 7 weeks pregnant, who had just been attacked by a dog or 2 dogs, I would hope that she would come to her senses and understand these things are a threat to my kids. These things are not family. My family can't do what these things do. All you dog nuts who claim dogs are family, do you understand that? We can't attack, we can't mutilate, we can't inflict this type of damage. Now, when people say that dogs are family, they are always equating dogs with children. That's why they came out with this narrative that dogs are just as intelligent as children. That was to hammer the point home, to strengthen that propaganda that dogs should be looked at as no different from a 2-year-old child. And understand, 2-year-old children cannot do this. These are enemies of our species, predators. And do you know that even this man loved dogs? This victim, who just regained consciousness a few days ago, loved dogs. And you can tell the attack was bad. They haven't even showed it yet. But here you can see those dogs inflicted a lot of damage to his face. That's why they didn't want to show it. They did not want to hurt the image of dogs. That's why they didn't show this video. Notice they didn't even show it with the man blurred out. You'd think that they would at least do that. But even when you blur him out and put him in pixels, they know that the film is too gruesome and violent then. And they didn't want to take any risk whatsoever. They didn't want to ruin the dog's image even in the slightest bit. So all they wanted to show us was this. That man was brutally attacked. A grown man was no match. Kids, if a grown man is no match for one of these dogs, what do you think is going to happen to you? Stay out of the homes of people who own dogs, and tell your parents that you don't like their dog. If they own a dog, tell them. This is part of where the pushback needs to come from. Not just from us going out to these rallies and being online. Some of the pushback against this dog nut culture needs to come from the kids of the adult parents themselves. Do not be afraid to tell them, no, dogs are predators, and I don't like it. I don't want to be around it. Don't tell them that you listen to me, whatever you do. Right? Shout out to, sorry about that. I missed another super chat. Or did I? Maybe I can find it here. Yeah, sorry about that. Shout out to whoever that was. But I'm going to continue tomorrow because kids need more guidance out here. They need more people like us out here giving them some type of guidance, because they're not getting it inside of the home, obviously, inside of a home where they allow these things to run loose, sacrificing their kids' lives for these worthless mutants. And it's just very unfortunate that this woman did not come to her senses after almost losing her life. Very unfortunate that this police officer who actually saw the attack had the nerve to defend the dog and speak out against euthanizing these things. That's like an L. That is a loss for what I'm trying to do here. These are people that will never, ever wake up. Why does the dog have to have a violent history for you to want to euthanize it? That means it's already mutilated someone in the past. You want to give it an opportunity to do it again. Well, not even humans get this kind of privilege. And let them back out into society? Do you think I can just walk up to this woman and stab her multiple times and they turn around the next day or next week or whatever, however long their little stupid quarantine is, and let me back out into the public? Totally ridiculous. So, we will never get through to people like this. She's still a dog nut. The man who saved her, still a dog nut. And they want, or at least he does, he wants to give that dog another opportunity to do that to someone else. But like she said, that could be a child. She pointed out, and she would know better than most because she is the mail carrier in that area. She pointed out that there are a lot of kids in that area. So I feel like that was extremely irresponsible as a police officer to fight to keep those worthless mutts alive. So this story was just to highlight the brainwashing. This is a powerful, powerful brainwashery these cults, these dog nutters have. Even after the attacks, these people will go to their graves no matter what the dog does. Nothing that they do will make these people speak out against their existence. We have to stop tap dancing around true solutions, right? Like this man did. He tap danced around the true solution, saying we need laws to make this or to prevent this from happening again. Okay, what type of laws? Laws to find them. give them a bigger fine. That is stupidity. Thoughtless, brainless. That's not intelligent. That's not a real solution, people. Let's deal with real solutions. It's going to include removing the presence of dogs from our society. That's the only solution. That woman who owned those dogs, she is not going to be able to contain them. They're going to jump over a fence. They're going to dig underneath a fence. They're going to run through a screen door like they did here. If you are out and you have the dog on a leash, it's going to break free from the leash, or it's going to drag you as you hold the leash. We are not equipped, we are not capable of always controlling dogs. And for that very reason, dogs should be removed from society, taken to shelters, and put down. Every single one of them. There's no way around this. We have to get serious. We have to stop insulting ourselves. We really do. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing, shameful, and demonic. There's something that's just overtly sinister about this cult. And I think it's important for the young people to know about this. And I know it's disturbing, but they are the ones being sacrificed. Luckily for this unborn child who could possibly not grow up to be a dog nut, the unborn baby was okay. But like I said, this woman was not able to open her eyes. Right? So that was warning number 1 from Mother Nature. Let's see when and if she's given another warning. She might not be so lucky next time. And don't get it twisted. This was a tragic, tragic situation. All attacks, mutilations, these are tragic situations. Stop projecting only the deaths as a tragic ending. Even if you are not injured, when dogs come up and just threaten you, send you into fight or flight mode, that is a tragic ending. Something happened that you did not deserve. I still 100%, I am against people walking on the sidewalk, enjoying freedom, and having a dog run up to a fence, barking at them, lunging at them, threatening them, attacking them, or trying to attack them. Even though they don't get physically attacked, that is a traumatic situation that does increase your heart rate. It's a threat. You can be arrested for threatening certain people. Even the average citizen, you can be arrested. It's a crime. But dogs are allowed to do it, get away with it. We're supposed to accept it as normal. I do not. I do not. These are not accidents. Humans can't do it and have it be called an accident and walk free. These are not accidents. These are sacrifices, right? And my freedom and safety is being sacrificed in the process as well. So I hope you all will join me. I will start tomorrow's live stream probably around the same time, but I will be sure to give everybody at least 6 hours heads up. Very, very disturbing situation here. Let's hope the next adult dog nut who has a experience like this actually becomes an ex-dog nut. I mean, it bothers me, because if things like this won't cause you to change, then these live streams and, these videos, they definitely won't help you. Definitely won't help you. Now, hopefully I'm wrong about that. But this just seems like brainwashery on another level, where not even a traumatic experience will cause you to turn heel against these worthless mutants. Right? So join us tomorrow, please, as we continue with this ongoing crusade against these worthless, good-for-nothing mutants and their enabling owners.